sa atin may nasang marating, kalayaang magbigay mataas na hangarin. Kilalanin natin ang hamon at hiling, na ang mundo'y gawing isa, pag-ibig paghariin. Ang hamon ng panahon ngayon'y nasa ating harapan, naghihintay ng isang tugon, nagpapakita ng daan. Bilhin ang pag-ibig, buhayin ng pag-asa, at mula sa ating sarili, pagbuhin ng mundo. Ang hamon ng panahon ngayon'y nasa ating harapan, naghihintay ng isang tugon, nagpapakita ng daan. Piliin ang pag-ibig, buhayin ng pag-asa, at mula sa ating sarili, baguhin ng mundo. Ngayon, baguhin ng mundo.
Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Simulan na natin ang ating get-together na may pamagat na Kampanteng Botante, Malayang Pagpili, Madiskarteng Pagsusuri. Ako si Noel, taga Quezon City. Sa ngalan ng Youth for the United World at New Humanity Movement, nagpapasalamat kami at kayo ay nakadalo sa meeting na ito. Welcome po.
Maayong hapon sa inyong tanan. Ako naman po si Norma, taga Puerto Princesa City. Kami ni Noel ang inyong magiging MCs sa hapon ito. Salamat at nakarating ang bawat isa sa get-together na ito. Ito ang pangalawa nating series o pagtitipon at iniimbita pa rin namin kayo sa mga susunod pang get-together. Dahil sabi nga natin, ito ay isang series tungkol sa ating voters' education. Actually, Noel, ngayong hapon, bago tayo magpatuloy, may ilang ground rules lang tayo na gusto nating ibahagi sa kanila. Okay. Ang number 1 ay igalang ang isa't isa o respect each other. Kasama na rito ang pakikinig or ang listening.
Okay. Ang second naman ay keep an open mind. Maging bukas ang pag-iisip. Halimbawa, may sinabing ideya na bago sa iyo o may sinabing opinyon na hindi ayon sa iyong paniniwala. Maging bukas ang ating pag-iisip sa mga bago at kakaibang pananaw.
Okay, ang pangatlo naman ay speak up. Magsalita ka naman. Ilabas mo ang nasa sa loob mo. Be confident. Kasi pakikinggan ka naman, pakikinggan ang sasabihin mo at igagalang ang mga ito. At dahil virtual ang ating get-together ngayon, ang ating mga pagsasalita ay sa paraang virtual din.
Okay, ipapaliwanag ito mamaya yung paano ba yung magsalita ng virtual. Okay, tatlo lang pala ang ating ground rules. Galang ang isa't isa, maging bukas ang pag-iisip, at magsalita ka naman.
Oo nga, Noel. Actually, tatlo lang kaya madali lang siyang sundan.
Okay. Sige, bago tayo magpatuloy, manalangin muna tayo pamumunuan ang isang prayer ni Angie Maglaya ng New Humanity Movement. Si Angie ay taga Tagaytay City.
Sa ngalan ng Ama, ng Anak, ng Espiritu Santo. Mahabaging Diyos, dumudulog kami ngayon sa iyo para bigyan kami ng liwanag para sa pagsusuri ng mga kandidatong ihahalal namin sa Mayo. Hinihingi namin ito sa ngalan ni Jesucristo. Amen. Sa ngalan ng Ama, ng Anak, ng Espiritu Santo. Amen.
Amen.
Salamat, Angie. Nabanggit
Wala
ko kanina ang dalawang grupo, ang Youth for a United World at saka ang New Humanity Movement. Yung nauna, Youth for a United World, kinabibilangan ng mga kabataan. At ang New Humanity Movement, kinabibilangan ng mga hindi na bata katulad namin ni Norma. Okay. Ang dalawang grupong ito ay parehong napapaloob sa Pagpili Movement, isang international organization na kumikilos para sa pagbuo ng isang nagkakaisang mundo. Ang founder ng Pagpili Movement ay si Kiara Lubick. May mga geographic area ang Pagpili Movement na tinatawag ng mga zone. Halimbawa, ang area natin ay ang Philippine Zone. Mamaya, bago tayo magtapos, papakilala natin ang mga responsible sa Philippine Zone ng Pagpili Movement.
Siguro, Noel, ngayon pwede na nating pakinggan yung ating unang speaker.
Okay. Ang mauna ay si Romano Beler ng Youth for a United World. Siya ay taga Quezon City. Si Romano ay kasalukuyang nagtatrabaho sa BPO Service Philippines bilang Human Resource and Service Delivery Associate. Graduate siya sa FEU sa kursong Political Science at kasalukuyan niyang tinatapos sa PUP ang kanyang master's degree sa Public Administration. Ang paksa na kanyang tatalakayin ay Mukha ng Kampanya sa Pilipinas. I-welcome natin si Romano.
Muli, magandang hapon sa lahat. Ako si Romano, isang kabataan, isang botante at may boses at kapangyarihan ngayong halalan 2022. Maraming salamat sa imbitasyon na maging bahagi ng learning series na ito ngayong hapon. At ngayong araw, susubukan kong ipakilala sa inyo yung iba't ibang mukha ng kampanya sa Pilipinas. Para lang sa mas maayos na daloy ng aking presentasyon, sisimulan ko to sa isang definisyon kung ano ang kampanya batay sa Omnibus Election Code Article 10 Section 79. Kasabay dito ang iba't ibang kaparaanan ng kampanya. Pang-apat ay ang pagkilala sa dalawang mekanismo na tatawagin nating glitz and glamour plus network. Ito yung mga obserbasyon at gampanin ng media. Sa huli ay mag-iiwan ng isang konklusyon at hamon sa lahat ng manonood. Layunin ng presentasyon na ito na mailatag ang iba't ibang mukha ng kampanya sa Pilipinas o sa Pinas at susubukin ito na maipakita ang pagbabago ng lagay at kaparaanan ng kampanya na may temang glitz and glam plus network. Ingay na tila fiesta hanggang maging ingay sa social media. Tara, pag-usapan natin yung mga mukha ng kampanya sa Pilipinas. Ang kampanya o the term election campaign or partisan political activity refers to an activity design or an act designed to promote the election or defeat of a particular candidate or candidates to a public office. Ang kampanya ay isang uri ng aktibidad na nagpapakilala at nagsasabing may nalalapit ng halalan. Ito ang panahon para i-alok ng bawat kandidato ang kanilang mga sarili sa atin bilang bakante na maluktok sa anumang posisyon sa pamahalaan. Sa pagpapatuloy ng pagbasa natin ng Article 10 Section 79, pinakilala din doon yung iba't ibang mukha ng kampanya. Una rito yung pagbuo ng mga grupo o organisasyon o asosasyon. Bilang halimbawa, makikita natin sa pag nalalapit na yung halalan, nagkakaroon ng iba't ibang grupo. Halimbawa nito yung mga HOA leaders natin, mga city leaders, pagsasama-samahin sila ng mga kilalang politiko at sasawagin silang League of Leaders, tas dudugtungan ng pangalan ng isang spesipikong kandidato. Isa pang halimbawa nito yung paglikha ng mga panandaliang trabaho. Kung nalalapit na yung eleksyon o halalan yung kampanya, mapapansin natin yung pagdami ng mga street sweepers, oplan disiplina, oplan sita, o kung ano-ano pang mga hanap buhay. Subalit pagkatapos ng halalan o pagkatapos ng kampanya ay mawawala na rin tong mga trabaho na to. So panandalian lang sila. Yung time period ay para lamang sa panahon ng kampanya. Pangalawang mukha yung pagtitipon. Nariyan yung mga proclamation rallies, caravan, binyag, kasal, libeng, o kung ano-ano pang mga pesta na pwedeng daluhan ng bawat kandidato. So, noong February 8, saksihan natin yung mga proclamation rally ng ating mga presidential or ng ating mga kandidato sa pagkapangulo. Ikatlo, yung speeches, announcement, commentaries, or interviews. Dito masusukat ang kalagahan ng mainstream media, kung saan ang bawat kandidato ay nagbibigyan ng pagkakataong ihayag o makisangkot sa mga debate o anumang mga pagpupulong. Ito din yung pagkakataon nilang ipakilala o ibenta yung sarili nila sa mas malaking audience o sa mas malaking merkado. Pang-apat, yung publishing or distributing campaign literatures or materials. Makikita sa mga kuhang larawan yung iba't ibang posters ng mga kandidato. Yung unang tatlo, makikita yung sa local politics ng Quezon City dito sa District 2. Makikita lang naman sa picture na hindi naman lantaran yung pangangampanya nila. Subalit nakalagay dyan, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, mga pagbati lamang. Subalit may malalaking mukha ng mga kandidato. Patunay na ito na kinakailangan nilang ipakilala sa madla o sa mga botante yung sarili nila. Sa pamamagitan din ng mga posters, nagkakaroon tayo ng memory recall. So nakokondisyon yung mga utak, kasipan natin na pagdating ng halalan, pag kulang yung listahan natin, siya na lang kasi ito yung madalas kong makita. So ganun din yung paglalagay ng mga mukha sa mga hanap buhay, no? Katulad ng nandyan sa food cart na nasa ilalim ng picture. Yung iba naman, kung bagong kandidato to, especially sa senatorial slates natin ngayon, ang pinapakilala nila yung sarili nila gamit din yung mga campaign literatures. Nakasulat dyan yung mga plataforma, stand nila sa iba't ibang isyong lipunan at kung ano yung mga personal background nila, mga natapos nila at kung ano-ano pa. Panglima o yung huling mukha ayon sa ating Omnibus Election Code ay yung directly or indirectly soliciting of votes, pledges, or support for or against a candidate. So pinili ko yung larawan ng mga religious institution natin. Una yung sa Iglesia ni Cristo, sa Simbahang Katolika, pati sa iglesia na pinamumunuan ni Pastor Kibuloy. So sa una, makikita natin sa iglesia ni Cristo, no, alam naman natin na merong nagaganap na black voting or nag-i-endorse sila ng mga kandidato. Pangalawa naman yung Simbahang Katolika, hindi man tuwiran yung pag-i-endorso nila, subalit makikita natin yung ibang pare, madre, o mga religious groups na nagsusuot ng isang kulay pagpapakita ng isang spesipikong kandidato na nais nilang suportahan sa nalalapit na halalan. Kamakailan lang din yung iglesia na pinamumunuan ni Pastor Kibuloy ay tuwiran o tahasang nag-endorso ng isang tandem para sa pagkapangulo at vice-presidente ng bansa. So bago tayo magpatuloy, nais ko munang kayong bigyan ng maliit na activity lang. Magre-react lang kayo ng heart at sad kung nakita nyo na yung mga lalabas na larawan, statements, or yung mga video or political jingles na lalabas. So heart kung oo, sad kung hindi. Una, nabasa mo na ba? Daang matuwid. Heart reaction mula sa iba. Sumunod na state, ang daang matuwid political slogan ni Pinoy. Tapang at malasakit, narinig dyan na ba? O nabasa? Maraming salamat sa pagre-react. Pangatlo, gobyernong may puso. Nakita o nabasa nyo na ba? Narinig noong mga nakaraang halalan? Sumunod, kakayahan, katapangan, at katapatan. Tatlong K. Narinig nyo na ba ito o hindi pa? Heart and sad react. Pang-apat, bilis, kilos, at aksyon. Salamat sa pagre-react. Sumunod, sama-sama, babangon muli. Sumunod, man of destiny for God and country. Sumunod, gobyernong tapat, angat buhay lahat. Maraming salamat, no? Papakita ito na nagiging tagapagmasid tayo sa mga nangyayari sa lipunan natin. Itong mga nakita natin ay political slogan or political branding. Isa ito sa mga ginagawa ng mga kandidato upang ialok yung sarili nila. Isang uri ng pamahalaan na nais nilang ialok kung sakaling sila yung maluluklok sa mga susunod na taon o maluluklok sa pwesto. Sumunod, narinig niyo na ba? Pakinggan natin itong musika na ito.
Nakaligo ka na ba sa dagat ng basura? Nagpasko ka na ba sa gitna ng kalsada? Yan ang tanong namin.
So parehas na activity din, heart react kung narinig na at sad react naman kung hindi. Ulitin lang natin siya ng mabilis.
Nakaligo ka na ba sa dagat ng basura? Nagpasko ka na ba sa gitna ng kalsada? Yan ang tanong namin.
Maraming salamat sa mga reaksyon. Sumunod. Number 16 sa balota. Ito ay Blue Dots, no? Isang kanta na ginamit din ng isang kandidato sa pagkasenador, no? So, number 16 siya nung time na yon. Next naman, ito medyo latest lang. So, sana alam nyo at napakinggan nyo na.
May bago ng buhay, bagong bansa, bagong galaw, sa bagong lipunan.
Yun, may mga salita na lumalabas. Maraming salamat po. Sumunod.
Mamalasin, mag-uulang na lang ng asin sa totong na sinaing. Pasalamat ka pa rin kasi meron ka pa rin. Samantalang yung iba walang makain. Lolo ko kasi ama, kaya lang ay magregalo. Lola ko kasi ina.
Ito ay isang rap na ginawa ni Smaglas at ni Basilio para sa isang presidential candidate natin ngayon.
Mamalasin.
Sumunod.
Hindi ka bigo, may tapang, may puso para sa Pilipino. Ano lang ating pinuno, handa lang magsilbi, husay at tip.
Ayan, so ito namang mga pinakinggan natin, natawagin natin siyang political jingles. Sabi ng isang political expert sa paggawa ng political jingles, mahalaga ang unang 10 segundo ng bawat musika ng bawat kandidato. Dahil dapat nakaangkla ito sa masa, madaling matandaan at nakaka-target ng emosyon para mas mabilis na magkaroon ng memory recall. Sumunod, nakita mo na ba o nabasa mo na ba ang mga larawan na lalabas? So ito yung mga kilalang personalidad o artista na ginagamit ng ating mga politiko sa pangangampanya. Tatawagin natin itong popularity politics or popularity campaign, kung saan ginagamit yung mga artista para mahakot din o ma-impluwensyahan yung mga supporters ng mga sikat na personalidad na ito. Sumunod, pasok tayo sa usapin na ito. Kung nakita nyo na o nabasa nyo na, heart react din at sad react. Nabasa mo na ba ang meme na ito? Next. Nakita mo na ba ito? Ang susunod na larawan, nakita o naobserbahan mo na ba? Next. Susunod na larawan, ika-5, ika-6, at ika-7 larawan. So ito na yung papasok na naman tayo ngayon sa usapin ng paggamit ng social media. So sa paggamit ng social media, makikita natin yung iba't ibang meme. No, tatawagin natin itong meme war. Sa meme war, kadalasan lumalabas yung mga supporters ng bawat kandidato. Kadalas sa isang statement, gagawin nilang i-splice nila yung mga video ng statements para makabuo ng isang video at pagdudugtong-dugtongin ito. Hindi kaya naman gagawa ng isang larawan mula sa isang statement ng isang kandidato upang maging katatawanan. So itong huling dalawang larawan, hango ito sa personal kong social media account. Sa aming mga millennial, tinatawag namin pong online bardagulan. Naman sa mga hindi masyadong kabataan na kasama natin sa plenary, ang madalas tatawagin nitong sagutan, no, yung pagpapalitan ng mga kuro-kuro. Madalas dito nawawalan ng respeto or mga nagkakasagutan o nagkakagamit ng masamang mga salita. So, ngayon susubukan ko siyang ikahon. Sa unang bahagi, ang paggamit ng mga musika, slogans, artista, ay tinatawag natin glitz and glamour. Mahalaga na magaling kang sumayaw, kumanta, umawit, magandang personalidad mo, mga artistang kasama mo, ang poster na ginagamit mo, kagandahan yung unang nakikita. Kaya glitz and glamour, dapat nakaangkla sa popularity ng bawat kandidato. Sumunod naman yung network. Sa network, ito yung paggamit ng social media, trollings, pagsagot ng mga supporters laban sa kabilang kandidato or candidate A versus candidate B. So ang formula ng mukha ng kampanya ngayon sa Pilipinas ay glitz and glamour plus network. Ngayon, maaaring may tanong kayo sa isipan ninyo, Sir, paano po nagagamit yung network, no, sa pagkakaroon ng mga ganitong diskusyon, yung mga social media natin? So, sinasabi ni Sir Alan Herma na yung Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at TikTok ay ang tinatawag nating go-to platform ng bawat kandidato. Mura, mas tipid, hindi sila gagastos ng malaki. Kailangan lang nila ng following para makakuha sila ng audience nila. Subalit, kailangan yung following na yon ma-translate into actual votes. Kaya naman, ang kinakailangan pa din natin yung glitz and glamour. Kailangan nila lumabas sa social media. So, kaya pa din yung formula ay glitz and glamour plus network. So, yung huling tanong na maaaring nasa isipan ninyo, nasaan yung broadcast media, mainstream or mainstream media, mahalaga pa ba sila? Sabi ni Professor Ramon Casiple, isang political analyst, mahalaga na makita ang husay at galing ng kandidato sa pagsagot. Subalit higit dito ang platapormang hinahait at stand sa iba't ibang issue ng lipunan. Ito ay magagawa sa pamamagitan ng interview, debate at forum. So ito yung kahalagahan ng broadcast media or mainstream media. So sa kabuuan, ang mukha ng kampanya sa Pilipinas ay may temang glitz and glamour plus network at hindi rin natin kakalimutan yung paggamit ng broadcast media. Sa pabago-bagong mukha ng kampanya sa Pilipinas, maraming nang nagbago, marami ng estratehiya tayong nakita. Ang tanong natin ay kinakailangan natin maging masuri at maging kampanteng botante. Kaya ang tanong na gusto kong iwanan sa inyo ngayong hapon ay, sa nagbabagong mukha ng kampanya sa Pilipinas, handa ka na ba? Handa na ba tayo? Handa na ba tayo para sa Mayo ay bumoto? Muli, ako po si Romano Beler at isang karangalan na maging kabahagi ng learning series na ito. Maraming salamat po.
So thank you uli, Romano. Kaya
Salamat din po.
tatawagin na natin yung susunod na speaker. So ang susunod na speaker naman ay si Gio Francisco. Siya ang National Coordinator ng Youth for a United World. Taga Las Piñas City siya. Isa siyang registered psychometrician. Graduate si Gio ng psychology sa San Beda, Alabang at kasalukuyang nag-aaral sa UST para sa kursong Masters in Industrial Psychology. Kasalukuyan siyang coordinator ng Bukas Palad Foundation of the Philippines Incorporated. Ang title ng kanyang topic, nakikita nyo, Crash Landing on Who, ang kinalaman ng psikolohiya sa panahon ng halalan. Kaya welcome Gio, start na.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Thank you, Tito Noel, and welcome back kay Tita Norma.
Thank you.
Sisimulan ko na. Sisimulan ko na po ang presentation natin. All right, no, tulad po ng nabanggit, ang title ng ating presentation ay Crash Landing on Who? Kanino ba kayo napupunta ang inyong boto o sino ang inyong napupusuan? So sabay-sabay nating alamin yan. All right. Kita niyo na po ba ang screen?
Yes, malinaw
Okay.
na, malinaw. Yes.
Sige po. So ngayong hapon, tulad ng aking nabanggit, pag-usapan natin ang psikolohiya sa likod ng iba't iba pang strategiya ng pangangampanya. Sa usaping ito, paano ba tayo napapa-crash landing o napapasang-ayon ng mga kandidato sa kanilang panig? Lahat ng botante ngayon, if I'm not mistaken, were already alive by 2004. Kasi if you were born on 2004, you would turn 18 this year, no? Of course, if your birthday falls beyond the election day, sayang, you're not 18. In any case, in 2004, nagkaroon din tayo ng presidential elections. Marami rin ang tumatakbo nung panahong ito at kasama doon si Mr. Raul Roco na isa ring presidential candidate, no, dati siyang DepEd secretary na naging senador din, no, eventually. Noong 2004, kasabay siyang tumakbo ng nanalong si Gloria Arroyo at ang isa niya pang sikat na rival na si FPJ. Nauna ang slide. All right. Kilala si Raul Roco, base pa lang sa pictures na ito, kung di nyo naabutan, okay lang din, no? Gamitin natin ang mga larawan dito. Kilala si Raul Roco sa floral na polo. Yan ang kanyang signature look. So nung tumatakbo siya sa pagkapangulo, patuloy itong ginamit bilang bahagi ng kanyang branding. Sa isang interview sa campaign team ni Roco, inamin nila na yung floral polo was only used for TV ads na ang target audience ay ang masa, class C, D, and E. Kapag higher socio-economic status ng pinag-uusapan, ang TV ads ni Roco, ang suot niya na barong kasi mas presidentiable yung tignan. So, sa polo niya kasi na floral, mukha siyang reachable, no? Abot kamay ng masa. Tapos pag nakabarong naman, mukha siyang very respectable, very presidentiable yung aura. So yun yung, imagine, we're just talking about the choice of the outfit. And it already has a very strong impact in the campaign, no, of a candidate. If you will compare the two images, yung nasa kaliwa po, the one on the left was actually taken before campaigning, and the one on the right during campaign already. So you will notice if we zoom a bit, no, you will notice the eyeglasses are different, magkaiba. On the right, you will already see rimless, yung walang frame, hindi halata yung frame. At ginawa ito ng campaign team ni Roco para mas makita, mas ma-emphasize yung kanyang face, all right? And then if you will also notice between the two photos, the one on the right, better smile yan. No? And that was, Raul Roco was more confident to smile bigger because pinaayos niya yung ngipin niya. Meron kasi siyang problems din sa kanyang teeth na pinaayos niya. So he could smile bigger. And it was very important for the campaign team because it showed sincerity on the part of Roco. Ito yung bahagi na gusto nilang i-emphasize during the campaign. Now, bakit natin ito pinag-uusapan? Why am I sharing this with you? It's because, believe it or not, tuwing campaign season, yung mga kandidato para sila mga products, mga produkto na kailangang maibenta. Kaya pagdating sa TV ads or other advertisements, yung mga principles ng how you advertise a product, medyo ginagamit din sa pag-advertise ng isang kandidato. Ngayon, tingnan natin ito. In fact, that's what we call electoral marketing. No? Sa isang pag-aaral sa Brazil last year lamang, napag-alaman nila na merong 3 factors na involved sa electoral marketing. Ito yung paggasto sa kampanya. So kasama dyan TV ads, Facebook ads, printing ng posters, at iba pa. Kasama din dyan yung pagkakalat ng negatibong fake news tungkol sa kalaban at yung political spectrum na ang ibig sabihin kung ano yung stand niya sa mga social issues or kung ano yung kung siya ba ay conservative, siya ba ay liberal on policies and other debates on national policies, no, or local policies. Unfortunately, this is very unfortunate, mas mabigat ang ambag ng paggasto sa kampanya at pagkalat sa fake news towards the enemy, the political rival, kaysa sa platform at stand on social issues ng isang kandidato. Okay? Ang mga paraan na ito ng pag-market ng isang kandidato ay napag-alamang nag-draw ng mga sumusunod na reactions from the voters. No? So kasama dyan yung pag-increase ng followers sa social media, pag-increase ng intention na bumoto, yung pag-view sa isang kandidato as captivating. Ito very important, itong being captivating. Kasi maaring sa ating setting, ito yung you look at the candidate as a symbol of hope, as the solution to every problem in the country. Yan yun yung pagiging captivating at importanteng ma-draw out yung ganyang klaseng reaction from the voter. Siyempre, the more famous you are, the more winnable, quote-unquote, you are, the more na yung botante madudraw towards you. No? So, ang kaparaan ng ito at mga reaksyon ng botante eventually led sa pag-aaral na ito sa Brazil, it really led to a high number of votes. So, chap-chapin po natin yung electoral marketing na yan, campaign spending, negative fake news, at political spectrum. Gagamitin natin ang resulta ng pag-aaral sa successful na pag-market ng isang cellphone brand na pag-alaman na merong 3 bagay na napakahalaga para maging successful ang sale o pagbenta ng isang produkto. Sabi nga natin kanina, parang produkto na kailangang maibenta ang mga kandidato tuwing campaign season, kung kaya't may mapupulot rin tayo dito. Una, nakakatulong ang advertising appeal. Ito yung kung ano ang dating ng kandidato sa mga botante. Kadalasan na ginagamit dito ay ang pagpepresenta ng isang problema na kailangan solusyonan. So, after all, sa consumer behavior, first step para mapaisip kang bumili sa isang produkto ay alamin kung anong kailangan mo, aka problem identification. Kaya nga napapa-add to cart kayo pag 2-2 or itong paparating na 3-3 sale, di ba? Sa nakaraang 2 presidential elections, makikita natin effective ito. Noong 2010, ibinandera ni President Noynoy Aquino ang problema ng korupsyon. Kaya nga, ang kanyang tagline, kung walang korap, walang mahirap. Response ito sa mga aligasyon ng corrupt activities na ibinabato kay President Gloria Arroyo. Noong 2016 naman, ginamit ni Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte ang problema sa krimen at droga sa panahon na medyo hirap ang administrasyon noon resolbahin ang tulad ng laglag bala scheme sa NAIA, kung naaalala nyo yon, among other allegations. Ito yung advertising appeal na tinatawag natin. Pangalawa, celebrity endorsement. Ito yung hindi nawawala sa halalan natin, katulad ng pinakita ni Romano. Kahit ngayon, makikita nyo na may celebrities na nag-endorse ng mga kandidato. Nakakatulong kasi ito dahil una, meron na silang fans or followers. Pero higit doon, they ease the tone of the candidate from a very serious figure to someone approachable and human. They make things light, kumbaga. At ang pag-uulit-ulit ng iba't ibang ads ng politiko or advertisement repetition, kahit gaano kamahal magpa-advertise sa TV at cheaper sa social media, gumagastos ng milyon-milyon ang mga kandidato para dito. Malaking tulong kasi ito for memory recall hanggang sa ma-LSS na tayo sa kanilang campaign jingles o gamitin na rin natin yung kanilang mga catchphrase sa ordinary conversations. Pero alam nyo ba, sa tatlong ito, yung celebrity endorsement, pwede yang mabawasan o mawalan ng impact kapag malaki na yung impact na binibigay ng advertising appeal at advertisement repetition. Alright, sabi natin ang mga kandidato ngayon, di lang sila nasa TV makikita, nasa social media na rin sila, pero bakit ba sila nandoon? Nakakatulong kasi sa kanilang standing ang pagpasok sa social media. Mas effective kung nagfo-focus yung mga candidates showing or presenting themselves as kanais-nais na imahe ayon sa kanilang personal na katangian. Ano bang mga content ang nakikita natin kadalasan? Sa official website, andun yung full details, platform, credentials, at iba pa. Pero pag Facebook, YouTube at TikTok na, anong nakikita natin? Vlogs, kwentuhan, interview with family members, o minsan, sila pa mismo yung sumasayaw. Sa social media kasi, effective base sa mga pag-aaral ay yung they present themselves according sa kanilang personality. In fact, dahil ito yung mabenta, ito rin yung pinoproduce na content at maaaring hindi na isipin ng kandidato na ipresenta or i-highlight ng mabuti pa ang kanyang platforms or stand on issues kung enough na to win the votes na na-establish niya ang kanyang image sa pamamagitan ng kanyang personality. Ito yung personality politics din, pwede natin idagdag sa definition na binigay ni Romano kanina. Ang campaign season, ang isa rin sa peak ng tinatawag na battle of the narratives. Meron kasi tayong tinatawag na political storytelling. Ito yung how the candidates present themselves. Kaya dati uso yung comics na nagpe-present ng buhay ng kandidato, kung anong kanyang pinanggalingan, etc. Pinapakita rin yan sa advertisements, di ba? Minsan, no? At minsan ay nagiging movie pa. Alam ko may mga kandidatong nagpa-movie ngayon. Sa ads, iba-iba rin yung presentation ng mga kandidato. May kandidato na nagpe-presenta, sila ang key to solving a specific challenge in society ngayon. Halimbawa, boto nyo siya kasi makakapag-generate siya ng mga trabaho. Iboto nyo siya kasi magkakaayuda kayong lahat. Ito yung bahagi ng political storytelling. At bahagi rin ng political storytelling, kaya wag tayong magugulat kung ine-emphasize minsan ng ilang kandidato kung ano yung kanilang pinanggalingan. Alam ko, nakikita ko po sa social media that there are some who express, bakit ba itong kandidato na ito keeps on repeating that he or she came from this and that? Because they are targeting that group to identify with them. Napatunayan na kasi ito na very effective yung identification with the politician. Sabi natin na bahagi sa ine-emphasize tuwing halalan yung personality ng kandidato. Epektibo kasi ito sa social media man o bilang bahagi ng political storytelling. Pero alam nyo ba na sa isang pag-aaral dito sa Pilipinas, meron pala tayong specific na hinahanap when considering a leader. Ang qualities na ito ay ang pagiging palabati at palakaibigan at nagmamalasakit sa kapwa. Nato-turn off tayo kapag snub yung kandidato at mas gusto nating ina-emphasize ng mabuti kung ano yung mga nagawa niya para sa kanyang kapwa Pilipino para ebidensya ito ng pagmamalasakit sa kapwa. Ayan, tumungo naman tayo sa ilang mga madalas na nilalaman ng speeches ng mga kandidato. Isa dyan ang ipinapangako ko. Ito ay tinatawag na positive self-representation. Bahagi ito kung saan nais ipakilala ng kandidato ang kanyang sarili bilang the solution or the one who brings the solution. Kadalasan ito ay may elements of promise, no? Very specific. Meron ding napabayaan kayo ng pamahalang ito. Ito ay isang example ng metaphor analysis, no? Tatawagin natin itong metaphor analysis kasi halimbawa sinabi mo ito sa isang lalawigan, may project naman kahit papano doon yung pamahalaan, hindi lang ganun ka-emphasize, no? So, ang pupunta doon yung kandidato, sabihin niya, napabayaan kayo, iniwan nila kayo, kinalimutan nila kayo. Ito ay metaphor analysis, hindi literal. Yung ibig sabihin, overemphasized yung gusto yung, or exaggerated, ito siguro yung mas tamang term, exaggerated yung pagpresenta ng sitwasyon. And itong yes, we can, nung panahon ni President Barack Obama sa US, gamit na gamit niya ito at ito din ang nagpanalo sa kanya. Ito yung tinatawag na exceptionality motto. Kailangan mag-stand out ka with this one. This is your winning sentence, kumbaga. Kumbaga, sa Miss Universe, yung pagiging confidently beautiful with the heart is an exceptionality motto. Parang, if I recall this sentence, this phrase, i-attribute ko automatic sa'yo. And it becomes part of your branding. Ngayon, pag-usapan natin ang emotional campaigning at negativity. Yung emotional campaigning, effective ito. It can be done in many strategies. Ang kailangan lang niyang gawin, maaari itong speech, maaring video, maaring vlog, maaring simpleng meme or post. Ang kailangan lang nitong gawin ay kurutin sa puso ang mga botante. Ngayon, effective ito both to move voters to support you and to anger voters not to support your rivals up to the point that you reach hate speech. Yan, ganyan kalakas yung emotional campaigning. It tries to draw votes towards the candidate, pero kung magtataka kayo, halimbawa, maganda na yung resulta, no, yung standing ng isang politiko, bakit pa kailangan maglabas ng ganitong klase ng uri ng material to have emotional campaigning? Kasi you need to, ito yung ginagamit din sa mga produkto, kailangan mo ng customer loyalty. Kailangan ma-maintain mo yung mga voters who are already with you. You have to give them fuel to keep on vouching for you. Kaya you have to keep posting, creating materials that would touch their emotions and move them to vote for you or anger them towards your rivals. At yan, sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo na pag-aralan na po na ang negativity at emotionality ay positive ang resulta sa halalan. Kasama dyan yung personal attacks, pananakot, fear appeals, hate speech, no? So, paano ba yan nagagawa, no? Paano bang bukod sa mga binanggit nating ways? Dito papasok yung kalakasan ng tinatawag nating fake news. Sabi nga ni Joseph Goebbels, na isang Nazi supporter, repeat a lie often enough and it becomes the truth. Ito ang nakakalungkot na realidad natin ngayon sa lipunan. Ang repeated information kasi has been shown na mas tinitingnan natin yun na truthful. Ito yung tinatawag na illusory truth effect, no? Nagkaroon na kasi ng isang experiment dati kung saan nagpresenta yung mga researchers ng almost 100 trivia statements. Hindi lahat yung totoong trivia, mukhang trivia lang. Tapos, the following week, nagpakita ulit sila, kahit hindi totoo yung trivia given the last week, pero yun ang nauna at repeated yun that week, mas pinaniwalaan nila, no? Mas believable. So, in other words, kung paulit-ulit yung paglabas ng impormasyon na yan, malamang totoo yan. Okay? So we have to be very careful of this one, yung illusory truth effect. Sabi ng World Health Organization at Department of Health ngayong pandemic, dapat iwasan natin ang 3 C's. Crowded places, close contact settings, at confined and enclosed spaces. Ako naman po, magtatapos ako sa presentasyong ito nang may parehong bilin. Iwasan din ang 3 C's. At ito yung mga cognitive biases natin ukol sa usaping pampolitika. Kasama dyan ang confirmation bias, coverage bias, at concision bias. Pag sinabi natin confirmation bias, nakikinig lamang tayo sa impormasyon na sang-ayon na sa dati pa nating alam. Pag hindi sang-ayon, hindi natin ito kailangan o hindi na ito tatanggapin. Okay? Coverage bias naman, nakikinig lamang tayo sa isang source ng impormasyon. Minsan, hindi pa yung credible na source. At yung concision bias, tinatanggap agad natin yung impormasyon mula sa mga spliced video dahil lang maganda ang pag-edit sa kanila. In fact, I want to warn you also, this morning, a video came out assuming that this historical figure was speaking. Siya mismo nagsasalita yung Tagalog. Hindi ko na babanggitin, pero bahala na kayo kung makikita ninyo. Meron pong mga ganitong uri ng video, ang tawag ay deep fake. Yung hindi naman sila ang gumawa, hindi sila yung nagsalita, pero it made the video editors made it appear na sila yung nagsasalita. So you have to be very careful po of this one. No? So we have 3 C's na dapat iwasan: confirmation bias, coverage bias, at concision bias. Okay? Bilang huling bilin after that one, huwag basta-basta tayong magpa-fall, maging mabusisi bago ibigay ang iyong matamis na oo, para sa bandang huli ay hindi magsisi at maging kampanteng botante. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat, Gio. Wow. Wow, talaga. Coming from our millennials. Noel, ano naman yung masasabi mo sa binigay na talk on crash landing ni Gio?
Yes. Maganda yung talk. Kasi nga, nanliligaw yung mga botante. Kaya sabi ni Gio, huwag kagad magbibigay ng iyong oo. At kasi siyempre, kailangan nila magpakilala. Siyempre, kailangan nila magandang image. Pero mga mabababaw na, mababaw pa ito eh. Laliman pa natin at busisiin. Yun ang term na ginamit niya na gusto ko. Busisiin mo yung kanyang pagkatao, kanyang performance, and all other things that we should know about the candidate. Thank you, Gio. Norma, ikaw naman pala.
Tama din. Alam mo, nagustuhan ko din yung ingatan, no? Bago bitawan yung matamis na oo. Pero in addition, nagustuhan ko yung sinabi niya na kinote niya yung isang tao na repeat a lie often until it becomes the truth. Siguro hindi lang sa politika pwede natin itong gamitin, no? Even in our everyday life, pag gumagamit tayo palagi ng kasinugaligan, eventually, even with our young people, baka akala nila ito na yung totoo kasi paulit-ulit. Okay? So, Noel?
Yes. Ipakilala na natin ang pangatlong speaker.
Okay.
Siya si Eden Cacho ng Banay-Banay, Davao Oriental. Isa siya sa mga kasama namin ni Norma sa New Humanity Movement. Si Eden ang Secretary to the Sangguniang Bayan ng Municipality of Banay-Banay, Davao Oriental mula pa noong taong 2000 hanggang sa kasalukuyan. Si Eden ay may Masters in Religious Education at kasalukuyang nag-aaral sa Holy Cross of Davao College para sa kursong PhD in Theology. Tatalakayin ni Eden ang paksang Campaign Strategies on the Ground. Kasama na natin si Eden ngayon. Pero gumawa siya ng video kasi mahina yung internet sa kanya para siguradong marinig natin yung kanyang sasabihin. Kaya, welcome Eden. Ayan si Eden. So, nandyan siya pero video yung mapapakinggan natin mapapanood natin.
Magandang hapon po sa lahat. Mayong Filipino di ay sa tanan. Good afternoon everyone.
Good afternoon.
Although digital campaigning seems to be the flavor of the day as presented to us by Romano and Gio, traditional methods of campaigning still exist and remain effective. Ano-ano ba ang mga to? Kung kayo ang tatanungin o kung kayo magiging kandidato, ano din kaya ang magiging strategy ninyo upang manalo? In my 21 years of exposure, my friends, to various elections, what I observed is that politicians who won the elections are those who have long or high antennas for detecting the interests or needs of their voters. So, their strategy is to know the voters' interests and to appear filling in before or during the campaign periods these interests, even if they will not actually fill them in after election. Some of these interests are: 1, daily needs. Many voters want their daily needs to be satisfied, and they would ask, can this politician give me something that I can put on my family's table now and hopefully after election? So what the politicians do? They will give out money or rice or goodies to get the voters' yes. Kind of vote buying and selling. Number 2 interest is hope for employment. Those who are unemployed or discontented with their work seek the candidate's assurance of work. Can this politician employ me now and when or she or he wins? So the politicians get as many leaders to campaign for them who they pay on a regular basis until election time. I call this strategy widening of campaign machinery. Many of these leaders usually become job orders when they win. Number 3, people are interested to have special attention from the candidates. Why should I vote for someone who does not know me? So politicians conduct house-to-house visits, attend to special occasions of their voters' family, shake hands, talk to them, give them tokens, so that they will have that kind of personal contact with the voters. Number 4 is kinship. Some people are asking, are we relatives? Ka-fraternity ko ba to? Ka-association ko ba to? Classmate ko ba to? So, knowing that, politicians call voters insan, gaw, pariente, bro, sis, etc. to build a kind of association. Number 5, interest is regional and tribal. Do these politicians come from our own region or tribe? Or does he know our culture? So, the politicians speak the voters' language or wear their tribal costume and act the way they act. Kind of ethnicity and solidarity with them. Number 6 interest is business protection. Can this politician protect our business or allow us to expand? So the politicians negotiate with these businessmen and make promises, even if they know that their decision making may be compromised later. Number 7, interest. Tolerance of illegal activities. Gamblers, drug syndicates, human traffickers, illegal miners, illegal loggers, etc. May ask, are these politicians lenient to our vices? Are they corruptible? Kaya, makipag-inuman sila, pumasok sa sugalan, sa clubs, etc. to appear in solidarity with these vicious people. Number 8, performance. What have this politician done so far to prove his worth of my vote? Politicians talk about their track record or present them to various mass media. I call it track record strategy. Number 9 is shared vision. Do these politicians have good dreams for our nation, our city, our locality that are similar to mine? The politicians present, therefore, their platform of government clearly. They use mnemonics and other recall devices to advertise their vision for society. This is the platform of government strategy. Number 10, for the interest of time, I will end here. Does the good character interest? People are interested to know whether this candidate has a good character. So the politicians therefore present their performance and achievements due to their good character and continue to appear as person of character in their public appearances. This strategy is show of personal integrity strategy. May I ask you, what would motivate you to vote for a particular candidate? Which interest do you think is prevailing among the majority of our Filipino voters? If you have noticed, many who won the previous elections don't bother using the track record, platform, or integrity strategies. Why? Because only few of us are interested about this. But since you are here, I assume you are willing to contribute to our political development as a nation. Therefore, my friends, if we would like to improve the quality of our politicians, we should work on, please, first of all, knowing our own interests and helping those whose vested interests are purely economics, tension, association, and vices, to change their interests somehow to higher values. How? By helping improve the economic condition of these people and by educating people to value good character and the common good. That is not an easy job and cannot be done overnight. And yet, the only practical or logical way. All these strategies above, however, could be shortcut by politicians who engage into other strategies. What are these? A. Concession, dynasty, party alignment. Sila-sila na lang ang nag-uusap kung sino ang tatakbo sa mga positions in the government. Magpalitan lang sila na pagkatapos and try to block any possible opposition. Some others would finance a weaker opposition to appear na merong kalaban. In this way, wala masyado silang gastusin. Pero, nawala na rin ang tunay na diwa ng democracy. A two-party system will be a better solution for this. Letter B, strategy, yung tinatawag nilang conspiracy with Comelec. I would say alleged conspiracy with Comelec. If this were true, this would be the worst. Pinaglalaroan na lang tayo ang taong bayan. No? Winners are predetermined already. If this is not true. If it were, a solution should be devised as soon as possible time. To conclude, brothers and sisters, politicians have varied interests, but have one thing in common. They want to win the election. Whatever their strategies, they will only be effective if they fill in the interests of the voters. Since we are governed by the rule of majority or popularity, the interest of the many will prevail. To improve the level of interest of the many from merely economics or self-interest to higher values and human character by transformation of people's culture would be a long shot solution, but the surest way. Therefore, reform not only the voters' mind, but also future good politicians who fit the concept of the founder of the Focolare movement, Kara Lubich. She said, and I quote, "The politicians for unity seek to live out the apparent contradiction of loving the other party as their own. Fraternity is God's vision for the whole human family." End of quote. In other words, we are seeking for politicians who are truly men and women for others. They who serve the common good. Thank you very much. Magandang hapon po sa lahat. Mayong Filipino DI.
Okay, Eden. Maraming salamat. Marami kaming natutuhan sa talk mo. Siguro, diretsuhin ko na yung impression ko. Siguro masyado, yung social media, okay, apektado tayo ron, pero marami pang may mga impluwensya pa rin na nakaka-apekto, kagaya ng kala natin pagtulong, hindi naman vote buying yan, tanggapin natin ng tulong ng politician, yung mga may interest na business, nandiyo dyan, saka yung may mga illegal activities, so kailangan talaga tayo magsuri. Siguro yung experience na din sa local government, pero ma-apply din natin sa pagboboto sa mga national candidates, mula presidente hanggang congressman, senator. Okay. Ay, Norma.
Alam mo ako, sa lahat ng sinabi na campaign strategies na binanggit sa atin ni Eden, parang isa lang talaga yung pumasok sa mind ko. Kaya dapat maging madiskarte at mapanuring botante tayong lahat. Yun lang. Thank you, Eden.
Okay, salamat, Norma. Introduce na natin, Norma, yung susunod.
Okay. Ang panghuli nating speaker ay si Sydney. Si Sydney Mapa ng Bacolod City. kasama rin namin siya sa kami ni Noel, sa New Humanity Movement. Okay, si Sydney ay naging City Councilor ng Tanhay City, Negros Oriental mula noong 2004 hanggang 2010. Nagsilbi siya ng 2 termino. Ibig sabihin, 6 years siyang naging City Councilor. Ibabahagi sa atin ni Sydney ngayon ang kanyang karanasan sa kanyang pangangampanya bilang politiko. Sydney, welcome.
Thank you, Norma. Thank you, Noel. Good afternoon. I am Sydney Mapa. When I ran for municipal councilor in 1992, some people thought I was a girl. Some people think Sydney is a girl's name. It's actually a contraction of my first names, Placido Cesar Dionisio. Ang haba. Sydney na lang. But I cannot explain that to everyone. So, my catchphrase during the campaign was, si Mama, si Papa, para kay Mapa. Ilagay ang tanhay sa mapa. Ilagay ang mapa sa tanhay. Still, I lost in that election. In 2001, Tanhay became a city. And in 2004, I ran for city councilor. To start my campaign speech, I would dance. Yes, similar to the administration senatoriables this election and last time. Then I would speak, panting for breath, tired after my dance. And my speech would be short because I used my allotted time to dance. Less talk, less mistakes. Also, to disguise my want of expertise in the local dialect. But I spoke on my platforms. Mapa Agrikultura for agriculture. Mapa Eskwela ang kabataan. Scholarships and schools for the youth. Mapa Alima ang kalibutan. Care for the earth. And I won that election. The name of the game is recall. You may have good qualifications. You may have good plans. You may have a good campaign. But you need to be remembered on election day. So, in 2007, I did magic tricks. Saan napunta ang pera ninyo? And I announced my platform. Mapabalay ang mga pobre, housing for the poor. Mapabisita ang turista, may tourists visit. Mapadayon ang serbisyo, may service continue. And I won again. And I did as promised. We donated a lot for the high school. Now it's a senior high school. Here you can see the photo. No? And the Gawad Kalinga village we donated is named GK Mapahiusa Village. Mapahiusa in Cebuano means that all be one. Unum sing. People in a community, rich and poor, locals and visitors, man and nature, man and God. Our present home is called Villa Mapaisa. May our family be one with each other, one with the Creator, one with creation. Hashtag Villa Mapaisa on Facebook. My take for this talk would be, choose your candidates well. The candidates will do anything to be remembered. I'm not giving advice to candidates here, but voters should know their candidates better, what they stand for, what they have done and not done. Don't just base your choice on the posters. Remember my photos? I purposely chose those with short hair. Kampanya kasi. Sa totoo, long hair na. Pwede naman manalo ang long hair, di ba? Remember your choices so you don't make a mistake, so you don't regret the next 3 or even 6 years. Remember your choices on election day. Sa ulit, ito si Sydney Mapa, numero 4 sa itong programa. Sana mapabuti ang inyong pagboto sa Mayo. Maraming salamat po.
Okay. Daghang salamat, Sydney. Maganda yung mga experiences mo. At ako, sasabihin ko na kung ano nag-struck sa akin. Gusto ko yung sinabi niya na, be very careful with your choices. Tama yung sinabi niya, maraming klaseng gagamitin ang mga kandidato. So tayo nasa kamay nating botante kung paano tayo pipili ng mga leader para sa ating bayan. Okay, Noel? What about you?
Madaling iboto si Sydney kasi likable siya eh. Wala, di ba? Marami siyang tricks. So, yun nga lang sabi, siya na rin nagsabi, huwag kayong padadala sa mga ganung bagay. No? So, susuriin pa natin.
Ayan, no? But also dito sa chat, may mga sumagot din and similar responses. So either way, if they encode it to Menti, pasok rin po ang inyong mga sagot. No? It reflects very much. Now we go to the next question. Ito naman po tayo. Hopefully nakabalik na kayo dito sa Zoom. Again, you click on the same link. And now the question is, ano ang diskarte mo sa pagsuri at pagpili ng mga kandidato? Ito po, more than one word is okay. Ano ang mga diskarte mo sa pagsuri at pagpili ng mga kandidato? Kasi kanina, we were able to define already ano ba yung mga susuriin natin. So now we are saying we want to really look deep into the track record. What did this person do before when he or she sat in government? Ano ba yung ginawa niya even kahit wala pa siya sa government? Ano ba ang kanyang background? Ano yung values na ina-uphold niya? May bahid ba siyang corruption, etc. Ngayon, that all of those you have already said, ano po yung mga diskarte ninyo? Paano niyo naman sila susuriin, no? Knowing the content that you want to examine. Okay? So, ayan, may nagsalamat po sa nag-chat no, ng second question natin. Thank you. Ayan, may mga sumasagot na rin sa chat. Kung saan po kayo mas komportable, it's okay. So, may sumagot na, hindi lang salita naririnig, kundi nakikita ang gawa, yung may resibo. Okay, ngayon may mga ilan na rin na sumasagot. Alright. Hintayin natin ang flow ng responses, no? So may iba't ibang way kung paano yung diskarte is really a Tagalog word na it refers to style, but style that you can really get the results that you are looking for. Madiskarte. Yung sabihin ng madiskarteng tao eh. Kaya mong ma-achieve yung result na yon using a particular style, and that is what we are looking for. Ano po bang particular style to garner to get this result, no? So may mga sumasagot na nga dito sa ating Mentimeter. Almost 30 na rin tayo. Let's give enough time for others. I won't show first para there's enough time. Anyway, we said 5 minutes also. We have a few more. Alright. Very interesting po ang isasagot natin dito kasi yung sagot natin dito, maaring magtulungan tayo bilang dahil mga kapwa botante naman tayo. So ano yung mga diskarte? Baka meron kayong alam na diskarte na hindi ko pa alam na pwede ko rin gamitin. In the same way that you can also learn from me a particular na diskarte. So let's see where this discussion will lead us pagdating dito. I think now I can show you, I can start showing you kung ano po ang aking nakikita ngayon sa screen. Alright. Meron na tayong more than 40 responses and counting. Mabilis ang pag-akyat ng digits. 50 na agad. Alright. Meron pong lumalabas dito na fact-checking. Okay? Meron din sa chat na lumabas nito, fact-checking. Meron ding research, talking to old ones, new surveys observed, reliable sources, Okay, yung iba lumabas na rin kanina sa unang question natin. Talagang yung resibo at patunay lumalabas. Makinig sa mga debate. Pagbabasa ng kada detalye. Okay. Alright. Checking on what programs they spend on. Okay. Pag-research sa kanila, sa credible sources, track record platforms. Oo, medyo gigil yung nag-type nito. Unahin ba niyang kabutihan ng lahat sa halip na ang pansariling interes o ang interes ng ilang? Ganoin. Okay. So lumalabas ditong mabuti na we all, well, a lot of people here gusto talagang mag-research ng mabuti, background check, fact check, at kailangan from credible sources, no? Ayan, consistency and coherence. Talagang gusto nating, ayan, napapamalas sa kanyang values, sa kanyang mga speeches. Kung meron tayong nakikitang obvious words sa bawat scroll ko po, research, no? Yun talaga, manaliksik ng mabuti, no? Alamin. Ayan, no? Ang re-research hindi lang track record, kundi ano yung outputs nila sa kanilang trabaho, no? Paano nakatulong yung kanilang leadership na i-resolve ang mga problema. Okay, manood ng debate, kanilang mga rallies, political rallies, truthful, transparency, ano yung kanilang mga activities, checking the sources for bias. All right, so we have more than 66, almost 70 responses and maaaring umaakyat pa po. So yan ang ating mga kasagutan, ano? Mahalaga itong question natin kasi dito natin ngayon nakikita na seryoso tayo sa sinasabi natin. Gusto natin maging botante na Kampanteng Botante, which is our title now, by being madiskarte. No, alam natin, we recognize na malaya tayong nakakapili, pero madiskarte rin tayong sumuri. Ito yung dahilan kung bakit gusto natin maging Kampanteng Botante, dahil ayaw natin na after 3 or 6 years sabihin natin, ay, sayang yung boto ko dun sa tao yun, hindi niya pala i-deliver yung ine-expect ko sa kanya. So, or maaring nalinlang niya ako. No? So, mahalagang mabuti na we really consider very well, we take this very seriously, na sa darating na May 9, hindi lang siya simpleng pag-shade. No? Alam ko sa balota natin, di ba, sinishade natin. Hindi siya simpleng pag-shade lang. Kailangan kampante tayo, sigurado, hindi lang kampante, sigurado tayo. We are very confident na we are voting for the right person sa darating na May 9.
Wow, maraming salamat, Gio. Ang liwanag talaga, no? And salamat talaga dun sa mga nag-participate sa pagsagot sa ating mentee na binigay sa mga tanong. Okay, proceeding to our next number, nabanggit actually kanina ni Noel sa kanyang pag-welcome sa atin yung pangalan ng dalawang grupo. Yung Youth for United World, kung saan kinabibilangan ito ng mga kabataan, at ang New Humanity na kinabibilangan ng mga adults na katulad namin ni Noel. Ang dalawang grupong ito ay napapaloob actually sa Focolare Movement. Isa itong international organization na kumikilos at naglalayon para magkaroon ng isang mundong nagkakaisa. At ang founder nito ay si Chiara Lubick. May mga geographical areas ang Focolare na tinatawag nating mga zones. Halimbawa, ang area natin ay ang Philippine Zone. Noel?
Sa isang zona ng Focolare Movement, may responsible sa mga kababaihan at may responsible din sa mga kalalakihan. At sila ang susunod nating mga kasama sa ating get-together.
Actually, masaya kami ni Noel kasi kasama natin ngayon ang dalawang responsibles ng Focolare Movement Philippine Zone. Kaya pinapakilala ko sa inyo ang responsable or the person responsible for the sa Focolare Movement Philippine Zone sa kababaihan. Ang pangalan niya ay si Purisa Plaras o mas kilala siya sa tawag na NAR. Si NAR ay taga Bohol. Noel?
Sa kalalakihan naman ng Focolare Movement Philippine Zone, natutuwa akong ipakilala ang ating responsible, si Andrew Camilleri. Isa siyang pari, pero mas gusto niyang Andrew ang itawag sa kanya. Si Andrew ay taga Malta, isang bansa sa Europa.
At meron silang ibibigay na mensahe sa atin ngayon. So Nar and Andrew, we are now ready to listen to you.
Thank you very much. I will start then. No, Nar, it's okay. We are not doing a political campaign, so we are very free. No problem with the smiles, no problem with the lighting and so on. I would like to say a big thank you to Romano. While you were speaking, you reminded me of Machiavelli, you know, this late Middle Ages, where the end justifies all kinds of means, no? So it's really very true. Also, Gio, I was very impressed, no? I mean, I take with me this word that it's important to be inquisitive and to do your research very properly. And this is something that will come up later on about this, no? We really need to be educated, no? And then also Eden, Mamma Mia, I was very touched when you were saying really how politicians really want to win, no? And also Sydney, thank you. I know very well your papa, and I'm very happy to see that you have really moved on so well. Thank you very much. I hope you are still connected. Maybe I can at least greet you for a while. Well, just to say thank you. You know, during these days, as these weeks towards May 9 are rolling on, some people would say, but what's the point of getting educated about this team? After all, in the last minute or in the last second, everyone will just crash land on his candidate and that's it, no? But I would always answer, if I have a choice whether to get educated or just move on without really thinking, I would still want to get educated, even though it's a process. I feel that it's a process of humanity, always more and more to be more selective, more attentive. And with regards to this, I would like exchanging some messages yesterday with Noel. I looked up, also then we saw together with Nar, something which is very interesting, which Pope Francis said in 2018, when he was speaking about how we have to counter fake news in order to seek the truth. Actually, the Pope's speech was more directed towards journalists, and I think it is also good to talk about this, because during these past months, we've been also bombarded all the time by all these kind of things that you have mentioned earlier, no? So the Pope says, what is fake news? He says, fake news is meant to deceive and manipulate the reader. He knows that sometimes its dissemination can influence political decisions and serve economic interests. Nowadays, he continues to say, the distribution of fake news often relies on a manipulative use of social networks that can cause it to go viral, as we see it. Now we see it going on all the time. The tragedy of disinformation is that it discredits others, presenting them as enemies, as you were saying, Gio, no hate language, no? To the point of provoking conflict. He notes how fake news often has its roots in a thirst for power, and how it moves from one lie to another in order to rob us of our freedom. Pope Francis invites everyone to counteract these falsehoods, and he stresses the need for educational programs, as we are doing today and as we have been doing these past months, that can teach us to take an active part in unmasking falsehoods, rather than unwittingly contributing to the spread of disinformation. Then also Pope Francis, recalling, of course, Genesis, he speaks of snake tactics, thus referring to the tempters, you know, the snake and the tree, no? The tempter's sly and dangerous form of seduction that worms its way into the heart with false and alluring arguments, in the same way that fake news does, trusting in falsehood can have terrible consequences. At first, they might seem very little, very slight, but at the end, they have really terrible consequences, as the Pope says. So what to do? Well, as Gio said at the end of his presentation, we have to purify in order to look for the truth. So purification by the truth is the most radical antidote to the virus of falsehood. The Pope identifies two key elements: freedom from falsehood and the search of true relationship. The best antidotes, he says, to falsehood are not strategies, but peoples. People who are not greedy, but ready to listen. People who make the effort to engage in sincere dialogue so that the truth can emerge. This is what I had communicated in November last, no? When we were speaking about to move away from polarizations to go towards polarity. This is what the Pope intends to say. People who listen and people who are ready to dialogue. The search for truth is the most radical antidote to the various falsehoods.
Thank you, Andrew. Also for me, this afternoon was really very beautiful, no? And in fact, I learned many things. And I feel that doing this together, it's not more than education. It's actually also a process for us to have a guided discernment when we need to vote on that day. So talking also with Andrew, no, I shared, no, and I would like also to share with you some excerpts of the message of the Pope during the World Communication Day on 2016. And I'm sure some of you know about this. And the title is Communication and Mercy, a Fruitful Encounter. As we have heard this afternoon, the use of the digital media is also part, no, very much used for campaigning. So, and sometimes it also creates division among us. And we have to be very careful because we are called to live a life of unity. But then what can we do in this situation? So Pope Francis said, we need to use the power of communication to build bridges and heal wounds, not generate hatred or misunderstanding. What people say, how they say it, and what actions they take must all express God's compassion, tenderness, and forgiveness for all. And so, since everyone is a child of God, no one must exclude another from dialogue. And truth is to be upheld with love. And only words spoken with love and accompanied by meekness and mercy can touch our sinful hearts. So the Pope was really trying to encourage everyone. He said, I would like to encourage all of you to see society not as a forum where strangers compete and try to come out on top, but above all, as a home or a family where the door is always open and where everyone feels welcome. And he continued, how beautiful it is when people select their words and actions with care in the effort to avoid misunderstandings, to heal wounded memories, and to build peace and harmony. So merciful communication, he underlined. It applies to all digital platforms and social networks, which are public meeting places where we can either encourage or demean one another, engage in a meaningful discussion, or unfair attacks. And he also underlined, the internet can help us to be better citizens and can build a world that is healthy and open to sharing. So for us Christians, what are we supposed to do? We as Christians, the words of Christians ought to be a constant encouragement to communion. And even in those cases where they must firmly condemn evil, they should never try to rupture relationships and communication. And he made special mention of people engaged in politics and those who help from public opinion, saying that they must be especially careful about the way they speak of those who think or act differently or those who may have made mistakes. And so also for me now, soon the Lent is coming, no? The period of Lent is coming. And I remembered very much these words of Pope Benedict XVI, no? And he said, Lent is a time when we must make up our minds and decide to accept our own responsibilities. It is the time for mature decisions. It is time for us to make our political decisions be based on the truth that will set us free, rather than on subjective emotions and opinions.
Yes, and today we had a very beautiful letter which we received through Geo, actually, from the CBCP president, who is Pablo Virgilio David. No, he is the Bishop of Caloocan. No, I just would like to read just the last few words of his conclusion, which is really very touching, but it's worth reading it all. It's only 2 pages, it's not so long, but it's very touching. From each word seems to be very well chosen and pondered about. He says, or they say, truth is intimately related to freedom. And maybe we can, this is taken from the Gospel of John. Disrespect for truth is disrespect for freedom. When we disregard truth, we disregard our obligation to be accountable. Can we address corruption if there is no truth? We must be ready to face the truth about ourselves. Thus, he says, and also in view of the coming elections, we call on you, brothers and sisters, especially the youth, to examine carefully what is happening in our quest for a true and just society. Engage in dialogue and discernment. Again, he repeats what the Pope says, no? Listen to your conscience. Be the ones to decide. We trust in your capacity to discern what is true and good. We all seek the common good. And in the light of the gospel of Jesus, let us follow the path of truth, goodness, justice, and peace, not the path of violence, vengeance, or evil, and we can also add fake news. No? Let us not give up on our search and defense for truth. By way of reason and faith, by common dialogue and discernment, prayer and action. Let us have faith as we persevere in overcoming evil with goodness. May truth unite us all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There's nothing else to add because it's all being said by the bishops here and also by the Vicar of Christ, of the Universal Church.
Maraming salamat, Andrew at sa Kanar. Tuwang-tuwa kami sa inyong mensahe. Actually, may proposal si Andrew, may papalabas na video. Yun nga lang, gagabihin tayo. Maganda sana yung video pero next time. Tapos yung kakaiba talaga yung voters education natin kasi nag-a-attend din ako ng mga ibang voters education. Sabi ko, kakaiba ito ah. So anyway, yung sinasabi ni Nanar at saka ni Andrew, mahalaga yung katotohanan, mahalaga yung habag, mahalaga yung pag-ibig. At saka yun nga, yung sa discussion namin ni Andrew, sino ba yung katotohanan? Sino ba yung pag-ibig? Sino ba yung habag? Diba? Yung Diyos, di ba? Siya yung katotohanan, siya yung habag, siya yung pag-ibig. Kaya siya yung hanapin natin. Saka siguro nga sa kampanya, of course, hanapin natin ang Diyos. Di ba? Hanapin natin, andiyan ba yung Diyos sa sinasabi niya? Andiyan ba yung Diyos sa sinasabi ng kabila, etc., etc. So, yun. Ang masasabi ko, Norma, ikaw naman, hahaba.
Yeah, very briefly, I'd like to thank Andrew and Nar for the words of wisdom how nice to wind up this voters' education with these words coming from Pope Francis and for the president of the CBCP, Bishop David. And it's true that we need these words as we approach our election on May 9, because we have to be enlightened Christians. We have to be enlightened voters, because this coming electoral process is something very, very critical for us, especially for us Filipinos. And Andrew was saying that we need to listen to one another. We need to dialogue so that we can be able to clarify what is the truth. And only the truth, as Nar had said, only the truth can set us free. And we need a free country where we can express what we think we are supposed to do, not only as Filipinos, but more importantly, as children of the one Father in heaven. So thank you very much, Andrew and Nar, for your very, very kind words. And so dito nagtatapos ang ating palatuntunan. Nais nating pasalamatan lahat ng ating participants na dumalo. In special way, thank you also kay Nar, kay Andrew, kay Angie, kay Romano, kay Gio, kay Eden, kay Sydney, and of course sa ating technical team. Noel?
Ako rin nagpapasalamat sa inyo. Sana ay nakatulong ang get-together natin para tayo ay makapaghanda sa pagsusuri at pagpili ng mga kandidato mula sa presidente, vice-presidente, senador, congressman, gobernador, vice-gobernador, bukal, mayor, vice-mayor, konsihal. Marami tayong pipiliin. Bago tayo maghiwa-hiwalay, inaanyayahan ko na kayo, may darating na tayong Zoom get-together uli sa March 19. Ganitong oras din. Ang topic natin ay job description and competencies required for President and Vice President.
Okay, napaka-importante niyan kasi alam mo, Noel, ang alam lang natin every time what are the qualifications for a president. But in our March 19 voters education, we will share with our audience what are the job descriptions or the job descriptions of the President of the Philippines and the Vice President. And at this point, bago tayo maghiwa-hiwalay, can we have some picture taking, especially nandito pa si Nar and Andrew? May we request our tech team? Everybody is requested.
Buksan niyo yung video niyo.
Camera, please. Para magkaroon tayo ng picture taking.
I-request lang yung mga tech team, yung kumukuha ng pictures, na wag mo nang mag-chat para hindi matabunan yung nasa baba ng mga pictures, ha?
Thank you.
Salamat.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's one. Next one. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And next one. Ang dami natin. 1, 2, 3. Next one. 1, 2, 3. And last one. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much.
Salamat, Luigi.
Thank you.
Salamat, Coach. Maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.